Night 3 in the search for Robert Card. Here we are, and still no suspect in custody. Welcome back, everybody, to LTL. We're live here on Friday night. It is October 27, 2023. Thank you so much for being in here. So I want to kick this podcast off. We're going to do a lot of review. I'll be honest with you, I've been working all day, so I haven't really heard a lot of the media coverage, but I think I got together some really great news clips that we can go over. And of course, the live feed from Fox is going. I know JLR is in the area as well. I was considering going up to Lewiston tomorrow, but I have a very important interview that I have to take, and I'll just be honest. I'm just going to put it out there for everybody to know. I am in contact with PJ, Chelsea Grimm's ex-boyfriend. I really don't know a lot about the situation yet. Him and I have had a brief phone call yesterday for about 2 minutes, and he texted me a long message to give some clarity as to their relationship. What he feels is going on, and he wants to talk with me tomorrow. So I'm actually going to speak with him on the phone tomorrow at 11 a.m. PJ, if you're watching, I really hope we have that interview tomorrow, and that essentially is just to talk with him and learn a little bit more about his relationship with Chelsea. I have some questions for him as well, and then possibly, if he feels comfortable enough, maybe to have him on the podcast, because we really would like to hear from him. So I was going to travel up to Lewiston. I was going to go tonight, and then this came up, and I really want to be home for it. So I'm home. I'm concentrating. I can take notes of the conversation and relay that back in a stream of things that we talked about, things that I can talk about. And I just want to treat all of that. I want to treat that with respect. You know, he is part of the angle or the case in Chelsea's case, and I want to just hear his perspective, hear what he has to say and what he thinks is going on. So it should be interesting. I know all of the things that are going on. I know about the GoFundMe. I have recently had a contact with Elias again, and his last message to me was, I asked him, hang on. Elias, would you like to come on my podcast tomorrow night, meaning tonight, and give us an update? Have you heard or seen anything? What is the word on in the field? Hey, man, I don't know if I can do it. Really busy. I have to fly out to New York tomorrow. The only new things I got is more people to join the search, and they are out in the field doing their thing. I'll keep getting messages of new folks wanting to be involved in the search. So that's what I have from Elias. So Elias, again, my platform is open. If you want to come back to LTL, talk, and let us know. What are you hearing? What are you seeing there in the field? We would like to know. Okay, I have a little bit of a summary here, and then we're going to get into the heart of the show here. Oh, by the way, this is very interesting. This just got posted on my page about 54 minutes ago. A subscriber said Turtle Boy's ex-co-host Brett is from Lewiston, and was friends with Robert Card. What a strange connection. What a strange coincidence. Crazy, crazy stuff. All right, let me read the summary over, and then we'll get into some of these videos that I have pulled. So this past Wednesday evening, Robert Card, a 40-year-old U.S. Army reservist, unleashed a deadly mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine. Armed with a high-powered assault rifle, Card killed 18 and injured 13 others, making it the deadliest mass shooting of the year. The terrifying events began just before 7 p.m. when shots were fired at the Just-in-Time Recreation, a bowling alley on Molson Way. Shortly after, at 7:08 p.m., multiple 911 calls reported an active shooter. Excuse me. at Schmagy's Bar and Grill on Lincoln Street, just 4 miles away. In response, Maine State Police urged Lewiston residents to shelter in place after 8 p.m., initiating a citywide lockdown. At 8:06 p.m., the police released a photo of the shooter, later identified as Card. By 9:56 p.m., a vehicle registered to Card was found at a boat launch in Libsyn, promoting the shelter-in-place advisory to extend to Libsyn. The manhunt continued overnight, including over 100 investigators searching for Card in Bowden, where he lived. The following morning at 10:30 a.m. press conference, officials confirmed the tragic toll of 18 lives lost and 13 injured. An arrest warrant for 8 counts of murder was issued for Card, with the possibility of more charges pending identification of additional victims. Despite pleas from the family to surrender, Card remained at large, prompting a massive search effort involved more than 350 law enforcement personnel. Maine Governor Janet Mills expressed deep sorrow, vowing support for the affected communities during this dark and devastating time. So that's where we are right now. I want to pull up a video here from one of the survivors from the shooting, and we'll hear from this survivor.
When you go into the bowling alley, there's a right side and there's a left side. The right side is where we hold our practice. First 4 lanes when you walk in. That's where the majority of my bowling kids were. I just happened to be on the left side this one night, facilitating a pre-post bowl session where kids can make up for games that they missed,
okay,
or bowl for games that they're gonna miss.
And then what happens?
I hear the loudest pop I've ever heard in a bowling alley, and it was unnatural. I've been in bowling alleys my entire life. It was unnatural. I knew it immediately. Thank God that this guy was having gun malfunctions.
You pretty sure about that, huh?
I'm
Because
100% confident. When I looked around the corner, he was facing me at 30 feet, and he was racking his gun.
There's only 2 reasons you're doing that, right?
You're either reloading,
right,
or you're trying to clear the chamber.
Trying to clear jam.
So either way, that's a moment of let's go.
right. And were you able to get any eye contact with him or to watch any of his movements?
I saw nothing but neck down and long gun. And the first words out of my mouth were shooter, shooter, and follow me. And there just happened to be a huge curtain where they have their candlepin lanes shut down. I saw that curtain as cover. I said, follow me. Half of my group followed me. The other half of my group froze and barricaded in a corner. From that exit door that I got everybody out of, I stood there and continued to watch into the building, because that shooter was either going to continue my way, walking towards that group, and this could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
This could have been a lot worse, Chris.
I mean, look, there's no way to put the right words to how horrible this is for the victims involved, all the families in this community, no question. But that is, you heard me, one of the questions I have, because he obviously got the weapon functioning again, right? Because he went to another location, unless he had another weapon. But a guy with that kind of weapon and that kind of ammo and that kind of training, where a place can't get away and they don't have anything to defend themselves, could have been,
Right.
complete.
Right.
Did you see anybody get hit? Did you see where he seemed to be aiming or how he was doing it?
I didn't, but what I do know is that he was calculated. This wasn't a sprayer. This was a pow, 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 pow. He's putting a dot on somebody.
And You don't have any sense though of he was looking for specific people versus this was just a place with
I
a
don't-
lot of people.
I don't believe.
At the
I
time,
don't believe so.
you know, I
I think we were both trying to,
Just get
take
out.
care of our people and get out.
No, you did the right thing.
Um,
I mean, you really did the right thing. Did you see anybody who was injured on the outside or any part of that scene?
There was one little girl and her mom that
Oh.
was running with. Luckily, I had my phone, so I had the flashlight, and it looked like she either cut herself really poorly on her leg,
Yeah.
which tore her pants, or she had a little bullet hole in her leg. So we walked her over to the ambulance, and she got in the ambulance. And then there was an older woman that was bowling that she was having some chest problems, so we were comforting her.
When I when I re-entered the alley, as I said, I was looking through that door, expecting to see him continue. A minute or so passed. That I didn't hear any action. I didn't hear anything happening. And I had a good buddy that was in that group on lane 17, barricaded in the corner. I yelled his first initial, D, and I didn't hear anything. I waited a few more seconds, and I yelled again, full name, Dylan. And he said yes. I said, "Are you good?" He said, "Yeah." At that point, I really wasn't concerned with the threat. I made my way back in, and as soon as I got to that original corner that I had,
I just want to kind of pull this up. Candy says can't even go bowling anymore because that you can't even do that anymore. The thing is that you have to live your life. And I understand that these things are scary, but you can't be scared by these people. This is what they want to do. They want to cause havoc in society. They want you to stay home. They don't want you to go anywhere. You can't live your life like that. You have to just go. But I urge people, and I notice it a lot, and I've been talking about this. Be aware of your surroundings. When you go into an establishment and you get through that door, look where your exits are. Look where somewhere you can hide if a situation like this happens. I always am aware of my surroundings, who's around me, who's behind me, who's beside me, anywhere, because I'm always constantly looking because you never know. But that's the problems. A lot of people are just not aware of their surroundings. And I talked about this the other day, that people walk around too much with headphones in. They're not feeling and listening to that environment. They're shutting off one of their most important senses. You have your eyes and your ears, and you have, the vibrations that come through your body, that sixth sense, and your audible cues. If you have headphones in or you're not paying attention, and I always say this, like I see tons of people out now with fucking iPods in, walking around because either listen to music or they're worried about the fucking phone call they're going to get. Take that shit out. Listen. Hear your surroundings. Look around. Does something seem off? Does something seem weird? Does someone seem off or weird? And I don't think a lot of people do that. They don't look at their surroundings around them. They don't get a feel and they don't know. So don't be afraid by these people. You have to live your life. You can't live in fear. And that's what these people want. And someone just said it's kind of the definition of a terrorist. They want to make you fear leaving your house. Just be you. Always look around and always be diligent and always be aware. It was like today, I even noticed him walking out of the gym. There's a lady in front of me and she's leaving the gym. And I'm literally maybe 2 feet behind her. And it was like we had to go through a set of double doors to get out. So she opens the first set of double doors. I made it through that, but opens the second and wasn't even aware that I was behind her. And the door almost slapped me in the face because she's not paying attention. And that's how, unfortunately, and I don't want to take this the wrong way, but that's how people get hurt in situations because they're not aware. They're not looking where are the exits, Who are the people that are around me? Where are my friends? You know, stuff like that. So use those things. And then if you ever get into an active shooter situation, look to where you can go and barricade a door. Put something between you and that shooter. Buy yourself some time. If I go through tons of training like this in my field. They always say active shooter comes in, you get into the back area of the place that you're in. If there's a door between you, you barricade that door. You try to buy some time so this person can't kick through that door, shoot them through that door, whatever, and get yourself to an exit and know an emergency exit and know where your car is. Have your key ready. If you have to run to your car, have your keys ready. And then if per your company, if there's a mutual meeting area away from the site, meet in that area with your colleagues. Do a head count and make sure that everybody is there. That's all the stuff in the training that I go through. You can use, if you're in a close combat situation with a shooter and you don't have a weapon to return fire or something like that, pick up a piece of furniture, fight for your life. Use a fire extinguisher, spray them in the face. You have to fight for your life. You have to do something at that point. Because ultimately it's either going to be you or them. And it's not, I don't mean to be, I guess not like rude. I don't know the word for it, but at that point you have to fight. You have to fight. Get something that can hurt them, fire extinguisher, piece of metal, anything. So, I go through this training because I work in facilities. I work in buildings. And we go through a lot of this stuff. Have a common area where to meet away from the location. Have your phone ready. Have your keys ready if you can do that. And you can get out and you can get out safely. So, again, don't let these people bring you down. You have to live your life, but just be more aware, because that's the type of society that we live in now. I'm always constantly scanning my scene where I am. I want to know who's around me. What do they look like? What are they doing? Are they doing anything strange? Is their body language weird? Look for those cues. Use your eyes, use your ears. Those are the best senses that we have. And then use that intuition inside of you. If something feels wrong, get the hell out of there. Get out of there and get out safe. So just a little bit of thing that I wanted to bring up and talk about. Hopefully it can help some people if they haven't, heard anything like that or gone through any type of training. All right, let's keep playing through this. And I'm sure, if you haven't had any type of actor trainer shooting, you can probably find tons of it for free on YouTube. We're on YouTube. Just type in active shooter training. It'll pop up. There'll be probably some short videos that you can watch. It's pretty common sense stuff. Just be vigilant. Look around you. Use your eyes and ears. Something's not right. Get out of there. All right, let's keep playing through here.
I'd look down. There was bodies. And the owner of the facility, who I know and I'm close with her
Okay,
husband.
I'm getting an update here from a source that says, and this is just a rumor, it's not confirmed, but my source is hearing from their source that they're saying that supposedly a body has been found, but is not confirmed. So this could be card. It is not confirmed. I'm just saying at this point that there's some information that is coming through to me via a source. But we'll keep monitoring the situation and maybe we can break something soon. I think he offed himself. I think he got to that spillway and he probably floated downstream. And AZ was showing me that there's a hydro substation just downriver. He probably floated right down there and got caught up in the dam, because he's up in that area. AZ's from up in that area. All right, let's keep playing through here.
Great people. They brought our bowling alley back to life for us. I I saw her running from the front entrance back into the building. The door was locked. It was secure. I felt no threat. At that point, it was who here is savable.
Is anybody savable?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
Anybody talking to you today after this about why they think this happened?
I think every single person's wondering why it happened.
Yeah.
Anybody seem to know anything?
It's 4.3 million speculations.
Yeah.
You know, and as much as I want the police force to empty every single round that they have into his chest, I think we all almost want him to give some sort of an answer, but there's not going to be one answer he gives that's going to make sense for any of us.
Right.
So at this
It
point,
never really is.
let's just get it done with. You know, he needs to go away.
What does that aspect do to your head and your heart that he found a way to evade them this long? You think it's just about the area?
Like you said, it's a rural area, and if you know your surroundings and you're familiar with this area, you can get around.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to
All right, let's go here. As last night we saw some coverage of the SWAT team. Let's see. SWAT team. Oh, all right, let's hear about the note here. The note, the said note. I'm not going to say the word, but you know what kind of note it is. Let's play this.
Bobby Chacon, retired FBI special agent who served as a tactical medic during the manhunt for Olympic Park bomber Eric Rudolph, among many other situations. Let me ask you, Bobby, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. ABC News is reporting tonight that a suicide note was found at the home addressed to his son. What do you make of that? And how does the mental health piece fit into the strategy of the folks trying to catch him? Does it mean that he's less predictable? Does it mean
Thank you,
that it
Healing
can
Time.
provide
Appreciate
them
it. Thank
with
you.
some, way to figure out what might be his next move, or does it make him that much more unpredictable?
I think it makes him that much more unpredictable because, you know, throughout the day we hear people talking about, you know, why would he do this? Why would he do that? And what we're trying to do is we're trying to ascribe rational.
Oh, I want to let everybody know I have Wednesday off. So I'm going to go out to Turtle Boy's court hearing and stream live from it. So I'm just going to reach out to him and make sure that it is definitely Wednesday. I think he said 3 p.m. Because that's very close to me. So I'm going to go out to the court and stream from the courthouse and get you guys some boots on the ground. Oh, my voice cracked. Oh, my voice cracked. Get you some boots on the ground coverage. I'm going to reach out to him and make sure that it is confirmed that it's Wednesday. And again, I said that I was going to go up to Maine tomorrow, but I want to really be home for that interview and take that and not have to be like on the road trying to take notes. And again, really, what am I going to be able to do? Yeah, I'll be streaming from the area, but I have a weird feeling they're going to end up finding this guy probably X'd out somewhere tonight. I just have that kind of weird feeling. So, you know, we'll keep covering it this way, but Wednesday to me, I definitely want to be out there for Turtle Boy's court hearing. So I'm just going to reach out to him and confirm. I'll let you know. But the interview tomorrow with PJ, it should be interesting. Should be interesting. And I'll let you all know about that. And maybe, you know, I gained some of his trust to get him to come on to the podcast because, you know, he said, you know, he feels that I'm a very straight shooter guy. He told me that on the phone. He feels that I've been covering this, you know, with respect. And he just wants to know who he's talking to a little bit more. And maybe I can get him to open up and come on the podcast and talk a little bit about him and Chelsea. You know, that's what we want to hear because his name has come up. I've gotten Elias on the show, and I think it would be really great if we can get PJ over here and, you know, hear from him, hear his side of the story. So we'll go from there. All right, here we go.
Thought to an irrational person. None of us can get inside his head because his head is working very differently than our heads work. And so if I was on scene, I would have mental health professionals in the command post with me, particularly, hopefully, someone that's treated this guy prior. And I know there's, doctor-patient privilege, but, in certain circumstances that can be suspended. If we could get somebody that's treated this guy in the past in the command post to
PayPal
kind
can
of
be
advise
friends and
us of what
family.
he might be
You're gonna
thinking
send
and how.
anything
Because
from
look,
PayPal,
I'm in
friends and
tactics,
family.
but I didn't know, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. So if you can have those mental health professionals, particularly somebody who knows this guy personally, that can really help in a situation like this when and if you actually come into contact with him, and when and if you can try to decide or predict where he's going. But overall, he's not ideologically driven, he's irrationally driven, and that makes him much more unpredictable on what he's going to do, when he's going to do it, how he's going to do it. These things usually resolve themselves quickly, either a suicide at the scene or suicide by cops shortly after.
Now, I heard some rumors, a source was sending me, says it's reported that Robert Card used hearing aids. Also reported that the deaf community group was targeted at their weekly cornhole fundraiser. Also, one man who was deaf had a job driving trucks for Walmart. Possible connection. So that's one of my sources was telling me. And again, I can't confirm any of that. We haven't confirmed that, but that's been some rumors that have gone out there as well too. So
as that hasn't happened in this case. So now we're going into a phase of this case where it's really
and I
unpredictable.
also heard he
Right.
might have been
Let me ask
targeting
you
his
about what we've been
ex-wife.
seeing in the
I don't
last
know.
few hours at the family home there. We've seen the authorities now go back to the same home, same area at least, and
What are you
presumably
all
the same
hearing?
home
Let me know what you're hearing.
twice, literally leaving and coming back. You've got to believe that someone gave them some sort of information that led them to go back, right?
It's exactly what I was thinking. In fact, not only information, the first thing that jumped into my mind was one of his relatives may have been on the phone with him somehow, and they went to the house and they came back and said he's not there. And then the person turned around
Thank
and
you
said,
for
no,
the
he
PayPal.
is
I
there.
appreciate it.
Because why would
Thank
you
you.
leave and then come back so quickly and so
Thank
strongly?
you for the PayPal.
And so it seems to me that in the interim, when they left, as Alec was describing, when they left. For them to have to then come back, clearly new information came to light that drove them back to that house. What could that information be?
Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation.
All right. Let's go on here. As today, there was an update this morning. I'm not going to play the press conferences, but they were searching the waterways in and around Lisbon. Look at this.
Back there in that Maine massacre, as we are now in day 2 here of this search that continues right now. Skyfox images are showing just around this park area of law enforcement that is in the area. We want to continue our conversations here on Live Now from Fox, giving you the latest updates all in real time and really to get some insight of what is going on there on the ground from the law enforcement angle right now. We do have security expert and a former SWAT team member here, Mark Herrera. Thank you again for joining us on Live Now from Fox.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Not sure, Candy.
All right, so let's get right into it here. A terrible, terrible tragedy taking place there in Maine with this mass shooting. Now the suspect on the run here, and the search, I mean, it is being brought on by the state police, federal authorities, so many local, all in the mix there to try to get this guy.
Absolutely, Mike. Listen, an active shooter situation obviously presents a grave and immediate threat to the safety of all of those communities and individuals that are within the vicinity of that area. So there are some dangers, a lot of dangers associated with that. The collaboration and the coordination of your local, state, and federal agencies is critical, and the emergency messaging and planning that's going to go out to the communities is critical. There's a very narrow timeline, so they really need to apprehend and neutralize or eliminate this potential threat because of obviously his skill set.
It's okay, healing time.
We have
Thank you for
some situation right here, Mark. I know you can see right here the moment here that Skyfox is showcasing us here. We have a situation here where officers with guns have approached here an individual. So let's talk. Well, let's talk about this right now. I know you can see the images here, so very tense situation going on right now.
Yeah, it depends on the
Thank you for
intel
the
and the
20.
information that they've received.
Thank you for the
The
donation.
individual that they could be looking
Thank you.
at could be your suspect.
Thank you for the
Maybe,
20.
maybe not. However, I can tell you right now that your law enforcement is going to be very strategic and methodical in regards to their deployment of their teams because of that military background. Please keep in mind that this individual is not beyond an ambush and not beyond some explosive devices in and around the area that he's located. This thing was very well coordinated on his end and very well planned because typically you don't go this long without apprehending an active shooter. This thing was very planned and coordinated. So yeah, they're going to comb the area. They may have some intel. They might have found someone that fits that particular profile, but they're going to approach this with caution. So you'll know here in a few if indeed.
Liza says a lot of mental health issues now, especially with the drugs coming in. Need the long-term psychiatric hospitals open back up. They closed so many years ago. Should have kept them open and improved care. I completely agree. You know, this is what we talked about. Look at all the money that's being shoveled overseas right now to fight a war that has nothing to do with us, about a land dispute that's gone on for years and years and years. Years and years and years and has not been resolved. And we're shoveling American dollars into that war right now. And we just found out today, that the U.S. had 2 strikes today on Iranian-backed militias or something to that effect. I mean, essentially, we're in this war. The U.S. is essentially in this war right now. So, Paula Cat says press conference possible at 10. We will go to that live. We'll catch up on some replay right now, though. But I mean, this is the thing. You know, I talked about this. We could be using that money right now to support our vets, to get our vets off the street, to give back to our community, to get our homeless up off the street, to curb the drug epidemic in this country, to secure our borders. There's so many great things that we could do with that money. Build our walls, support our borders, hire more law enforcement to protect our communities, give back in our communities, build community rec centers, open back up our DARE programs, improve our education, improve the high school and grade schools in our areas. There's so much more that we could be doing with that money. Give back, get people off the street, open up job opportunity programs. These things all work, believe me. When you're in an area that's devastated, that has no hope, that has nowhere that you can turn, what are you going to turn to? You're going to turn to violence. You're going to turn to robbing people. You're going to turn to hurting people because you can't get ahead. Let's fix our cities. Let's give back to our communities. Let's stop the gun violence. We could be using that money here, but yet we shovel billions and billions of dollars over into foreign countries. I don't get it. I don't get it. Where is the money for the Maui victims? $700 checks. That's all they got cut. We had to help a poor lady get off a gym floor last week, where we gave the $500 that got her to her $10,000 goal in her GoFundMe. And God, I hope that money gets to her. Christine Borge, I hope that money gets to you because you deserve it. You need to get off that gym floor and start getting your life back together. But where is her community to help her? We're not doing enough. We're not doing enough. We're not doing enough to improve our neighborhoods, our cities. That's what helps people with their mental health. When things look good and when things are up, people improve, they smile, they help their neighbors, they go out and wave to their neighbors. And then we start erasing all those lines, all those things that all these things. We look past man, woman, race, creed, religion, whatever it is, poor, old, sick. Those things don't matter. And they shouldn't matter. because we need to look at the people inside. That's what matters, but we don't do enough here. We don't do enough here, and we need to start doing that. There's no patriotism anymore. Remember, America's a bad place. If it's such a bad place, then why does everybody want to come here? Why does everybody want to come here for the American dream? You're told America is bad. This is what our government tells us. This is what our society tells us. It's not a bad place. It's the best place to be in the world because we are free, and we're able to do this right now in this moment. We're able to be on the internet and stream and hang out and have this community. But damn it, stop shoveling all this money in these fucking wars. Let's start taking care of our own. And then when you build up everybody gets up and they build up. And then those people can give back. And it's a chain reaction. And we cut through all the bullshit, all the violence. We give people a sense of hope. But we don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. We don't do it. I'll talk like Joe Biden. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?
Come on, man. That is our suspect.
Yeah, and as we look more at it, it's hard to see with the tree cover here right now.
Gary,
but,
thanks for the
it looked
$5.99.
like someone who had a dog there and maybe was just walking by the trail, didn't know what was going on there, and just seeing the huge police presence. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that if we get more intel about that area. But I want to go back.
Body found. Body found. I'm watching the live news from Fox. It is not there. Probably getting an update at 10 p.m. I told you, I think this guy was floating downstream. And we actually talked about that. I had my source at 8:48 p.m. I already knew at 8:48 p.m. We'll see what happens. It's not confirmed, but we'll wait. We'll wait to see if it's confirmed. Let me go to the Twitter. Hang on. Let me go to the Twitter. Or X or whatever you want to call it. Gee, and I was going to go up to Maine tomorrow. I think this guy's been found. Breaking. Sources tell NBC 10 Boston investigators there's no longer a threat in Maine. Lewiston, Maine shooter suspect Robert Card is located and is deceased. Verified NBC 10. Let's pull that up. Verified Robert Card right now is deceased. It is confirmed. NBC 10 Boston. I will repeat. NBC 10 Boston. Breaking. Sources tell that the NBC Boston investigators that there's no longer a threat in Maine. Lewiston mass shooter suspect Robert Card is located and deceased. Breaking. Maine mass shooter Robert Card found dead. NBC Boston. Found dead. NBC Boston. Prayers for Maine tonight. This animal is off the streets. All right, let's break into the live news feed and see if we can get some coverage here. They're still talking about Israel. Let's see. It looks like a presser at 10. All right, let's go back. Geez, none of these videos really matter anymore. Let's see. They're talking about Israel right now. Okay, bear with me, folks. I'm going to see if we can find something here. Maybe some video. Let's go back to the Twitter. Suspect dead. Suspect dead. Suspect dead. All right, let me retweet this. Repost. Robert Card confirmed dead. Robert Card confirmed dead. Let's go back. He is trending on Twitter. The name Robert Card is trending on Twitter. Breaking: Maine mass shooter suspect Robert Card has been found dead. Has been found dead. Let's retweet these names of the victims. Okay, here we go.
She is over at that bar and grill where some of the victims were just playing cornhole, gathering with friends and family. Hannah, what are we learning?
Steve, this is about as close as we can get to the spot where 8 of those 18 victims were killed. The youngest, just 14 years old. The oldest was 76. Their families sharing these photos with investigators. Ronald Morin, Peyton Brewer Ross, Joshua Seal, Brian McFarland, Joseph Lawrence Walker, Arthur Fred Strout, Max Hathaway, Stephen Bozella, Thomas Ryan Conrad, Michael Deloria II, Jason Adam Walker, Trisha Asselin, William Young and his son Aaron Young, Robert Violet and his wife Lucille Violet, William Frank Brackett, and Keith McNair. All seen here smiling, hugging, holding awards, wearing a Celtics sweatshirt. Again, the youngest person killed was just 14 years old. Jesus. Investigators said their families didn't want personal information like their hometowns shared, but wanted to get these pictures out there. The police chief said it's been difficult for himself and other first responders who live in this area and know either the victims themselves or someone who's been affected firsthand.
Seeing these pictures come up on the board, I know a couple of them myself. There are many law enforcement officials that I know some of these victims, and it's certainly very challenging.
That's awful.
And the city's opening up a family assistance center at the Lewiston Armory starting tomorrow, where victims and their families can go for support and to just be together. Live in Lewiston, Maine, Hannah Cotter, WMUR News.
Now that community can heal. Now that community can heal. And it's just an awful situation. I'm waiting for the live feed to come back. Getting some updates here. I'm going to try to find another feed on just bear with me here. No one's live except for that one feed. And they're talking about Israel right now. We'll stay with Twitter. Okay, this is interesting. 3 hours ago, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but it says a man is being arrested in connection with wanted criminal Robert Card, an unidentified individual with his dog on his knees after being apprehended by police. I'm going to say it's bullshit. Let's see what.
I'm sorry, excuse my interruption, Nate. I'm so sorry. What we are looking at right now on the left of our screen looks to be law enforcement surrounding a man who is now
probably just checking this guy out
on his knees in front of them. They have their weapons pointed directly at him. It looks like he just picked up a dog. Is there any light that you can shed on this potential situation? They're live on the ground in Lewiston, Maine, in this manhunt for Robert Card. Do you see this footage at all?
So I'm on a delay on a phone right now, and I am seeing the image that you're referencing. This obviously is incredibly encouraging and a visual that everybody here in the surrounding area has been hoping for. After 18 people killed and 13 injured, 3 still in critical condition, everyone just wants this manhunt to end with nobody else being hurt or killed. I don't have any more information other than what we saw moments ago and what we're seeing right now. We'll continue to try to confirm that this is, in fact, Robert.
CNN reports. Let's look at the article from CNN, see if we can get any type of update here. Hang on. I really don't need these anymore. but I do need that live feed. Let's see. CNN reports Maine shooting rampage. Maine shootings rampage found dead. Sources say. Let's go here. 7 minutes ago, suspect in Maine mass shooting is dead. 3 sources tell CNN. Robert Card, the suspect in Lewiston, Maine mass shooting, is dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Multiple sources tell CNN. Card was found in the woods near Libspen, which is about 8 miles from Lewiston, the same source says. Police have been searching for Card since the shootings on Wednesday evening. A news conference will be held at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Obviously, we will wait for that update. And we're going to go cut into the live feed here. I believe they're going to come back and we'll see if they have any information live on Fox. And we'll just kind of hang out now. We'll hang out. Yeah, absolutely, Bella. Thank you. I'm glad I had the opportunity to do this tonight. It's funny. I was literally from work today on my break, was going to rent a car because I don't like to put a ton of miles on my car. I was going to rent a car. I was going to go up to Maine tomorrow. But, fortunately, the interview with PJ is going to happen tomorrow. So that allowed me to just stay here and kind of do this. And look what happened. And I said it. What did I say what did I say when we went live? I said, I think they're going to find this guy tonight. And ultimately, it looks like they did obviously find him. So we'll get some updates here. Hopefully they'll come back live. Maybe the live news has something and we can officially break this. But I'm happy. I'm happy that Maine can sleep a little bit easier tonight. I know it's not going to be hard. I mean, I know it's not going to be easy. Obviously, they have a lot of healing to do in that community, and it's going to take a long time to heal from the wounds of those scars. And some may never heal. They'll have mental scars forever. And let's go in live. Let's see what we got.
Do have some breaking news. We're going to move away from some of these developments in the Israel-Hamas war. We were just speaking there with our friend Hal Kempfer. We're going to do that as well with this next major development in the story we have been following since late Wednesday night there out of Lewiston, Maine. And we're learning right now that the suspect in this shooting, 40-year-old Robert Card, has been found dead. This is a major update. This is a major development in this story. And so we want to put up this tweet from our own Fox's Jackie Heinrich, and she tweets out this. Breaking, dead. Lewiston, Maine, mass shooting suspect Robert Card found dead. Law enforcement source confirms to Fox. And so I believe we have a live picture out of Lewiston, Maine at the moment. Remember, just mere minutes ago, we were previewing for you from the Maine State Police that there would be a press conference starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. We have that tweet. We want to put that tweet up because no doubt there would be some type of development. There was a late night press conference called, and we want to put that tweet up if we have it from the Maine State Police. And they alerted us saying they were calling up.
I want to just give some thanks out there. I had a few people that were in and around that area, but most importantly, AZ, who's one of my moderators that literally lives right in and around that area, has been feeding giving me information throughout the day, keeping me up to date. So I want to personally thank you. You actually broke this an hour ago to me that you heard this rumor on the ground that Robert Card had been found deceased, and now we are confirming it here. So great job, AZ. I appreciate that, and thank you for all of your hard work over the last couple of days to keep everything up and fresh here on LTL. So thank you, and amazing reporting, amazing getting that information over here to me so I can get that out live here on the stream. So thank you so much. I appreciate that, and thank you. I really do appreciate that. All right, let's listen in.
That this took 48 hours. What say you?
Andrew, it depends on where it happened. And I'm going to go with the assumption that it was probably a self-inflicted gunshot. I don't know how he died. There's no information on that. It just says they found his body, that he's dead. but more likely than not that he took his own life. And I'm not surprised if he did that. It would take a while, depending on where he did it. And again, he picks his location. It could have been someplace very difficult to find, and we've seen that in a number of cases where you have mass homicides and there's mental illness or extreme emotional distress involved. They do this, and of course it's a one-way trip. And actually, you and I had talked about that on Wednesday, that there were indications that he was thinking this might be but he didn't cover his face, as we recall,
Yes.
the pictures, and he walked right in front of CCTV. It was very clear.
AZ says, shout out to my bro, Big Dave, ear always to the ground. That's how we found out. I can read the text to you from AZ. I'll read it again. This was at 8:48 p.m. 8:48 p.m. My buddy Big Dave says supposedly a body was found, not confirmed. That was at 8:48 p.m. 8:48 p.m. Maine Senator King confirms. So this is confirmed. All right, let's keep playing. Thank you for $4.99.
Sending it, it was directed towards somebody or somebody's saying something. And when they find a note, that's usually an indicator that you're probably going to find that they basically took their own life. And I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, there could be other circumstances. We have so little information here. I am kind of speculating that he took his own life because we don't even have that information yet.
Right, we don't have that. We don't have that yet.
But
no.
It seems like a logical inference, but I we don't have that information yet.
Sure. So. Okay. I just want to reset here. Hal Kemper is with us. If you're just joining us here, it's almost 6:30 on the West Coast, almost 9:30 there in Lewiston, Maine on this Friday night. And we're getting reports in, Fox has confirmed that the suspect in the mass shooting there in Maine, this rampage that left 18 innocent people shot and killed. Well, the suspect who allegedly carried all of that out, 40-year-old Robert Card, has been found dead. And so, Hal, we have been over some of these scenes in and around Maine throughout the last 48 hours, and we heard from officials today, they lifted the shelter-in-place orders for several counties just this afternoon, probably about 3 hours ago. Could that have been a sign, maybe, that they had known something then, if it was safe, if the all clear was given? I mean, have you ever heard of a situation where a shelter-in-place order for about 3 counties? And
guys, people like this, and I don't even want to call him a man. I'm not even going to call him a man. We'll just say a person like this. Person like this is a spineless jellyfish. A spineless jellyfish to go out and cause havoc like this in a community, to kill 18 people, to ruin people's lives, and then can't face it like a man. Can't face it like a man. Takes himself out because he's a spineless jellyfish. Spineless jellyfish.
Shelter in place, which is usually something rarely for something like this. You more see this for things like a hazardous materials release.
Thank you.
Or
I'm going to give away the beans
some
tonight.
sort of fumes or
I'll
something like that
from
a
Magic
industrial
beans work.
facility or something. In this case, shelter in place because somewhere out there is a mass murder.
Let's do that.
And now, when you hear that they've lifted that shelter in place order that went on for 48 hours, that's a very long time. When you hear that, that indicates that they know
spineless.
They're with a high degree of confidence, I should say, that the threat is no longer active in that area. Now, does that mean that they've taken him into custody? Does it mean that they found him dead? Or does it mean that they found that he's left the area and they have pretty good indications that he's no longer there? Could be any of those things. Although that was kind of coinciding about the same time the story of the note was out there. So.
All right, here we go. We're going to give away the can of beans, the can of beans. This is how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to do it. And I'll sign it and get it out to someone. A little token, our little lucky can. We always have a lucky can when we have someone on the run we're trying to find. So can of beans. All right. What we're going to do is, if you want to participate, you're going to be able to give me an address that I can send these to. What we'll do is we'll get you verified. I'll get them sent out to you. I'll sign it. Just a little token from LTL. If you want to participate and you want to do this, we'll do the giveaway. Just type in the chat right now. Hashtag beans. Hashtag beans will get you in. You're going to be able to provide me an address that I can get this sent out to you, and I will do that. Hashtag beans will get you into the giveaway. I'll sign it, get it sent out to you. Little token you can put up on your mantle. Hashtag beans will get you in. All right, let's keep playing this.
Through a megaphone, and I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially, come out with your hands up. We know you're in there, Robert. Please come out. So there was never any indication, at least confirmation, that he was actually in there. So was that all just kind of a formality? Were they just acting on a tip, do you think?
A tip or maybe something a little bit more.
Just the tip.
That property was probably associated with them. One of the things they did in any of these cases, and is when you, and this is just modern investigative work anymore. We live with our cell phones, and those things are tools. They enable us to do a lot of things, but they also allow law enforcement a variety of ways to track.
66% said he'd be found
your phone
dead.
is
Now,
basically
I got
pinging
a
off
poll
towers and stuff,
question.
and we can zero in on where you are. And there's just a lot of information you can get from that. And of course, the warrant, you can go in there and you can take a look at what they're looking at on their phone and everything else. So from all of that, looking at his email accounts, the social media feeds, all these things, you can derive a lot of information that could lead you to various locations, to people, witnesses, all sorts of things.
Poll at the top.
And I think that's kind of what we had there. And
poll at the top.
That's probably why they were at that property. They had a high degree of confidence.
I thought this was interesting. Fox's own Bill Malugin, according to a senior source at Customs and Border Protection, said elite Border Patrol BORTAC agents were now on the ground in Maine, and they were assisting in the manhunt for Robert Card. They arrived last night, and BORTAC is essentially the special forces of Border Patrol. It does seem like BORTAC is like this magic force that they can do anything. How they were somewhat instrumental in the search for that escaped inmate in Pennsylvania, Danilo Cavalcante. And they were crucial during the Robb Elementary School shooting.
LTL.
They were called up there in Uvalde, Texas. And I believe members from a BORTAC team there in Uvalde finally neutralized Salvador Ramos after 70 plus minutes. So this somewhat special forces of the Border Patrol.
I worked on a logo.
Wonders, it seems.
I'll tell you, there's probably a lot of Army veterans out there, or Army.
I'm gonna kick this down for a second. I'll show you the logos I've been working on. I just want to get someone that can kind of jazz it up a little bit, but this is jazz hands it a little bit. This is what I've been working on. Something like this. Something like this. Nice, clean, easy to read, easy to recognize. I don't know. Maybe we do. We keep this pink. We do. I don't know. Got to think of something. Maybe we keep these pink. Something like this. I don't know. I've been messing around with it. Yeah, I'll get to the super chat in a second, but thank you. Yeah, I like the green outline. It's a little jokerish, though. You think it's like too jokerish? Or maybe we do this green. Let me see. Maybe we do that green. I like this. I think I dropped the yellow, and I think it's just going to be something like this. I don't like the yellow. Very, very Tetris. But yeah, something like this. I think I'm going to reach out to Jay from Design Atelier. I was playing his videos the other night because he draws really well. And I'm thinking of having him do something. Maybe we keep it simple and we just keep that white. I want him to do a couple versions. I like the white too. I think the white is really cool with just the LTL. But I want to have him do it and kind of jazz it up. So I don't know. I'm going to talk to him and see what he thinks. Give him a couple different versions of it. So, all right, we'll go back to the live feed. And if you want to get in for the can of beans,
So you do have a shot there. as this press conference
Hashtag
will probably be
beans
underway in the next 30 minutes. Before we
will
do
get
just
you
that, Hal,
into
we are
the
confirming
contest, and
as
I'll
well
sign it.
from the
We'll
Androscoggin
send it
County
out. Little
Sheriff's
LTL
Office, and I'm going to put
lucky
this up.
can
They
of
say
beans.
right now that the quote, the suspect in Wednesday night's shootings has been located.
Yeah,
and
maybe
is
red, white, and
deceased.
blue.
So,
That's kind of cool.
Hal, I will be
I
looking
never really
out
thought of
for
it that way.
where
That's
they
neat.
found the suspect's body.
Kind of like
how
that.
He took it.
Very
Possibly,
pro-America.
he took his own life. Possibly
Not a bad
police or law
idea.
enforcement neutralized. We don't know that just yet. We don't want to speculate there. So I want to know how, in what manner did he die, and also where he was found. Those are the questions I think all of us have right now, right?
I think they do. I think you, or we all do.
Sure.
But the other thing too is he had time to plan. He had time to think about this. Now, more and more has come out about his mental state, his mental illness, and I've heard a lot of speculation. I don't know if it's speculation or they had inside knowledge. They said he was probably hearing voices, and with all of that,
David Berkowitz.
he probably had some place in mind, and maybe that's why it took so long to find his remains. Was that he had some place that meant something distinctly special to him, where he wanted to spend his final time, on this earth, so to speak. And so maybe that place was very difficult to find, and it would not be if someone is in mental anguish like that. It could very well be.
Oh, this is not Halloween.
That's where they went. It's very strange. There's a human nature thing that a lot of times when people are in great fear of their lives or distress or something, they'll almost go into like not a fetal position, but they'll hide, and we'll find that they've hid someplace because they're getting ready to die. And animals do that too when they're wounded, that they will sometimes go someplace, and it's very difficult to find them, but they're basically hiding because they're getting ready to die. And so humans sometimes do the same thing. And so he may have went someplace, and he may have went someplace that was just simply very hard to find. And that's why it took so long to get him. And it is a human reaction. Again, pure speculation, because all we have is what you've read on the air. That's all we know,
Right,
so
exactly.
we don't have any more information.
So, Hal, I want to talk more about
So
the search
this is,
as well, because the U.S. Marshal Service
you're
were
asking about
involved
this.
in this
This
manhunt
is
as
actually
well.
from
They
the
had deputies
Ghost
on the
Army
scene
in
from
World
both
War
Maine,
II.
Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and
And
New
it was a
Hampshire, working with
tactical
local and
unit
federal authorities.
in World
When
War
they were
II.
asked
That's
whether
what
the
this is
thinking is
from.
that Card is on the move or
That's their
hunkered
kind of
down in the
insignia.
woods, a source to Fox answered, quote, "We can't pigeonhole
Yeah, I'm gonna
him.
mess around
We've
with it.
got to just work
I'll
with
have
the
Jay
lead."
look at
So
it.
it seems like they did not really
Well, I got
know
to go up to that super chat.
where he
Did
was
someone super chat?
throughout the
Did I
course
miss a
of
super
these
chat?
48
I didn't see a
hours.
super
And
chat.
now we find out, yes, that he is dead. They
Danielle
know
said
that
something
as
about a super
much.
chat.
But
I didn't
what
see
do
a
you
super
make
chat.
of the search itself? I know there were hundreds of tips, hundreds of leads law enforcement got.
The only 3 that have come through so
But did
far
you
is
think
carries,
in
AZs, and
kind of in your
healing time.
gut or in the back of your mind that they were ever going to take him
See
alive?
something
They
about a
wanted
super
to take
chat?
him alive, but they're not going to get it.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
If he was alive, my sense
pulled it
was they
up.
would find him.
Okay.
There were so many resources there.
I pulled
with
all the super chats up.
There's a lot of things the FBI can do. Let's just put it that way. And the Marshal
pulled them up.
Service is also part of the Department of Justice. The Marshal Service works closely with the FBI on these fugitive cases. That's just one of the things that they do. And there are some rather amazing capabilities they both have, and I won't get into that. But I did believe that if he was alive, I mean, yes, he had field skills. Obviously, he had weapons knowledge, but he does not have the sort of knowledge that would allow him to evade that kind of, pardon the expression, dragnet, if you will, in terms of the resources, the capabilities that can be brought to bear trying to find him. And so if he was alive, I thought they would find him. But I also, based on all the reports and all the discussion about mental illness and the type of mental illness that he had, and again, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I can't claim
That's
some great
okay.
insight in this, but based on what I heard, it did seem very probable that once it was done,
Excuse me,
that he might terminate his own life. And
Okay.
again,
So we're
we
just
don't
waiting for the
know
press
if it
conference.
was if this was,
No.
he took his own life. All
No,
we
we
know
don't
is
know
they
that.
found his remains. By the way, there's another possibility too. I've done a lot of stuff in the field, and I can tell you, if you get somebody out there and they're not that comfortable or they're overestimating, maybe they found his remains because he literally walked off a cliff in the middle of the night. That's possible too, and I can tell you, I've done some things where things will surprise
Thanks,
you at
Barry.
night.
I'm working on it.
And so he may think he was that good, and he may have actually done
Yeah, I don't
something.
know.
And,
Maybe.
and the reason they found his body is because he did something tactically or
I see.
whatever very wrong.
Okay.
In the middle of the night or something.
Yeah, because we know he was an avid and experienced outdoorsman. I guess whatever that means, that he could go, at great length for several days there in the wild. We know this is a very, very dense forest and wildlife there in southern Maine. Also, we know that he was an experienced firearms instructor. He knew his way around a firearm. Let's just put it that way, because there had been some reports to suggest in a personal, private capacity, he was some type of trained expert in that. The Army came out, their spokespeople said, well, he never served in that capacity while he was in the Army. He had been in the Army since 2002. He was some type of petroleum fuel specialist there. Those were his duties. And I think, of course, there was that report that he made those threats at one of these bases in Maine, at Saco there just this year. And so we're going to continue to stay with this story. We have Hal Kempfer with us as well. Hal, I want to put up some of this video. This was from earlier today. So the search for Robert Card kind of moved to this body of water today. There were law enforcement agencies out in boats, divers, looking into this body of water today, not too far from the shooting scenes themselves. I was struck by that because I would have thought we would have seen that either the night of or the day after, but today.
Well, that could be where they found his body too. He could have tried to swim and overestimated his swimming capabilities. Could have got caught in current. Could have got. There's just a lot of things.
What if he drowned?
That could have gone wrong. And I want to say a couple things. First off,
I think he drowned.
Sheriff Search and Rescue finds the remains
water,
of
it's cold.
experienced outdoorsman abilities when you're out in the field. The other thing too, and this is something in the military, but it's used in a lot of different,
Yeah, good to
it's
see
used
you.
all
Heather.
over the place.
Nice to see you. It's been a while.
Is there's a saying
Been a while.
in the special operations world
Good
that
to
when you're
see you.
operating the field, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. In other words, 2 people have a much higher chance of success than 1 person. And if you're 1 person out in the field, Murphy's law of accidents will be lurking over your shoulder, and you can fall down fall off a cliff, fall down a hole.
Yes.
Get caught in a current, get snagged on a root, whatever it is. There's just lots of things that can happen, and there's nobody else to provide you aid except yourself. So it's always good to have a buddy system. Obviously, this is a lone wolf, mass murderer. He's not going to have a buddy with him, and if he did,
we'd get to
100
conspiracy.
We'd be talking about something else. But in those situations, there is a certain amount of logic in that accidents will happen. And if you're out in the wilderness, certainly in the sort of situation he's in,
Am I still here? What happened? Am I still here? Can you hear me now? Something happened. My stream just literally went down. My whole browser. Am I back? Let me know if I'm back. Am I back?
Hal, we do have our picture there for our viewers joining us right now.
Okay,
It's gonna
sorry
reset
about that.
here, in about
I
20
literally, my
minutes.
whole
We're
internet
told
just
there's
shut
going to
down
be
for
a
a
press
second.
conference there in Lewiston,
I'm
Maine,
gonna have
at
to have
City
you do the
Hall with
beans thing again.
officials,
Hang on,
with
'cause
the
I lost
news
that.
now confirmed by Fox, but also by the Androscoggin County Sheriff's Office. Robert Card, 40-year-old suspect who carried out this mass shooting rampage Wednesday
Right, hang
night,
on a
now
second.
dead. We don't know the nature of how he
And I'll
died. We
set
don't
that up
know
again.
where he
Sorry
died.
about that.
Hopefully, those
Thank you,
questions will
everybody,
be
for
answered
texting me
in
and let
this
me know
press
I'm
conference.
back.
So we
And
have a
I went
picture
down. I was like, what the
inside
hell just
the room
happened?
where the press conference is going to happen. I
All right,
believe
we'll do
this
the
is
giveaway
also
again. Hang
a
on.
live picture as well. Or you can see this is in Lisbon. Okay, so
Hashtag
Lisbon, not
beans.
too far from
Hashtag
Lewiston, from
beans.
Bowdoin as well. It looks
We'll
like
give
some
it
of our
away
Fox
after the
reporters
press
are also on the
conference.
scene there. We're going to step away from that
Hashtag
shot
beans.
as well. And so this
Get
manhunt
your beans back in
is
there.
now
Sorry about
over.
that.
And
And
so
Carrie, thank you so
I'll
much
be
for the
looking to
5. I think I
hear
saw that.
so many of these particulars and
Thank you, Carrie.
details
Thanks for the
when
5.
officials
Appreciate you.
step up
Thank you.
to the podium there. But Hal, I would be remiss, talking about all of this. Today, we also learned, well, who these 18 people were, these victims, these people who were just enjoying a Wednesday night at a bowling alley and a bar. I want to put up their
Odd. I've
images
never seen
and their
that. I
faces here.
literally
I
had
almost want
clicked
to
the
pause
button.
this
My
because
whole
you can see
browser went down. Like,
just
what the hell?
Robert Card wrought in this community. It is a tight-knit community, even though it's Maine's second largest city.
Yes,
And
Tracy with the
so
turtle boy.
you can see there, I believe there were
The magic can of beans.
17 males, 1 female.
Every
as
time we
part of
have a crazy
the group
person
of
on the loose and the
fatalities.
police are trying to find them, I find a can of
Andrew, they're just
food
they're
to
members
rub.
of the
Remember
community.
the can of corn?
They were just out
We did
on a
beans this
Wednesday
time.
night, doing what they probably do on many Wednesday nights or weekday nights. And certainly have a variety of ages across the board, all the way down to teenager as the youngest. I think he was 14, and he was there
And
with
I'll
his
sign it
father,
and
is my
send it out.
understanding. Just a horrific tragedy, and I have to tell you, we have to have obviously there is a very active discussion about guns across the board. Maine doesn't have some of the gun laws that some of the other states do. And my guess is that they're going to be revisiting some of those, some of the red flag laws that some of the other states have. But particularly in these cases, it's so important that if somebody is suffering from mental illness, that they get firearms away from them, because they can pose a threat to themselves and others. And it was interesting. I was talking to somebody today, and they're bringing up the fact that they know someone who has a
no way.
a
Boston
relative
baked
that
beans.
has mental illness,
Boston baked
and
beans all
they
the
were
way.
personally afraid of taking away this person's gun collection because they're afraid that it might cause some anger and frustration. And that's one of those things, like, we have some things we have to address across our society that you have to overcome that. Yeah, you're going to make them upset, but there's a reason why, and the reason why is you're trying to avoid what we just saw on the screen.
All right, Hal Kempfer is with us now. Hal, thanks for being with us. We're just going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to stay with this
There's going to be
story. We're going to be bringing in more
at 10
voices
p.m., I believe, a
into the
press
conversation
conference.
here, including
I think they
someone
probably
you know
knew this
well,
guy
someone
was
you've worked
gone
with
for a
before, Randy
while.
Sutton. So
know,
he's going to
why?
be joining us after the break.
How quick that they update, they have the press conference ready. They've probably known for a couple of hours, and they were just preparing for this press conference. That's what I'm guessing. They knew this probably a little while ago. They probably knew when they lifted the shelter in place. Well, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe they have to give a time, at whatever, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think they knew for a little bit. He wrote a suicide note. Will we ever be able to hear what he wrote in that note? That's what the poll's for. All right, I'm just gonna kill the sound here for a second. So what do y'all think? Did you think that he was going to be found tonight? Do you think he was going to be found tonight? Or do you think this was going to go on for a couple of days? Yeah. That is true. Hashtag beans. Hashtag beans will get you into the contest for the can of beans. We'll give away the can of beans, the magic can. And yeah, I appreciate everybody responding to the poll. That really helped out. I put the poll up. What did you want to hear tonight? Turtle Boy updates or Robert Card? You all wanted Robert Card. We had 30% for Turtle Boy, Robert Card at 70%. Tomorrow night, if I don't get PJ on, then we'll do some updates on Turtle Boy. I plan on going out there on Wednesday to his first court hearing. Well, his second court hearing, his first official. And I'll do some live streaming from the courtroom steps to see what he has to say. And actually get an opportunity to meet him in person. I think that would be kind of neat. So I'll actually reach out to him tomorrow and see. I think he said Wednesday at 3 p.m. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
We are learning now, and it has been confirmed that the 40-year-old suspect, Robert Card, has been found dead.
I'll be right back.
He walked into that bowling alley and bar on Wednesday night and started shooting, killing 18 people, injuring 13 more. We do have this live vantage point because, like I said, there's going to be a press conference very, very soon here, probably in about 12 minutes or so, and hopefully we'll get more details about what exactly transpired, how Robert Card was found deceased, where he was found deceased. And so we're going to continue talking about this with none other than Hal Kempfer as well. So Hal, we're just going to keep this up here. And so if you could, if our viewers are just joining us right now, what questions do you have and what do you hope law enforcement will answer?
Well, I would hope they would explain the circumstances wherein they found, his body, his remains. What right now law enforcement has a couple of missions, but one is public safety, but also they're dealing with a community that's been traumatized, and there's a lot of questions out there as to what happened, and people want answers, and so they're going to probably share as much as they can share. They're probably even with this, there's some sort of active investigation going on to still find out more details about what happened, to figure out anything else that could be out there. So they're trying to figure that out. But with that, they're also trying to bring some closure, if you will, to the community, to Lewiston.
And of course, we have this vantage point there inside Lewiston City Hall at the moment. And so I would be surprised as well if we're going to see, Senators Collins and King. Also, will we see Governor Janet Mills as well? I mean, Hal, could you talk to, you were talking about this before break. Do you think we'll learn more details about, how he got these weapons, the provenance of the weapons, if they were legally or illegally obtained? We haven't really heard that yet. That's something I'm always waiting for to hear in the wake, unfortunately, of these mass shootings. And so you have to kind of, I'm putting the pieces together, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but if he was very experienced with firearms, maybe you can make the leap that he had many legally obtained weapons.
If you're a firearms instructor, and it wasn't, he wasn't doing that in the military. All right, I don't know. He could have been a primary marksmanship instructor for annual qualification or something like that, but that's very different than being a quote firearms instructor. So if he was, he had access to firearms, but he also probably owned a number of firearms. That's pretty normal when you're doing that, certainly in a professional capacity, that you would have a number of firearms. And I was it was kind of interesting when I saw that he was, carrying that assault rifle with the scope, and of course the how he'd rigged up the magazines and everything else. That kind of got my attention. But one thing I'm sure a lot of people, when they heard he was military, probably thought was, oh, he must have got the weapon from the base or got it from the military. I would say that, and hopefully they'll put, if there is any thought about that, and there's been nothing out there said about that, I hope they put that to bed. I will say that having signed for, or having been accountable for hundreds and hundreds of those weapons, and with armories all over the place, that there's a lot of procedures that are in place to prevent anyone from walking away with those weapons. It's in fact, that's probably the least likely place that he would ever get access to a weapon like that.
Okay.
That he could take and use for something, as horrific as just what happened. So we'll find out more about that, find out where he got the weapons, find out where he got the ammunition, find out a lot of things, find out what his command did. That's what I'm kind of curious.
Okay.
Is what did the command do about this?
Hal, we want to welcome to the conversation right now Lieutenant Randy Sutton, our friend as well, who's been helping us make sense of this horrible tragedy and the investigation that has unfolded henceforth. Randy, thanks for being with us. I know you're traveling. I know you're busy. You've been on TV a lot talking about this. So let's just start from the beginning. The suspect has been found deceased. Your first thoughts, your reaction here?
Not surprised. I've been expecting this. I had an interview a little earlier today, and the way I replied to it was, he's either really, really tricky or really, really dead. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad it actually was the second choice and not the first, because it could have ended much differently with the loss of much more life. So he took the way out that was not unexpected. Many of these people that are that commit, absolutely repulsive acts like this wind up either a suicide or a suicide by cops. So this is not surprising.
Gee,
I know that
I've
been in contact with a number of personnel on the ground in the during the search, and they also felt that this was not a surprising.
What mod got blocked? What are you talking about? Interesting. I didn't think you could block a mod on YouTube. Who was a mod? Who got blocked? I got blocked from in this chat. You got blocked in this chat? What are you talking about? Who blocked you? I'm confused. From a viewer in this chat, no big deal. A viewer can't block you. You can. It's happened to me before. I'm lost. What's going on? Who's blocking who? Sounds like someone needs a drug test. Who's blocking what? Who's blocking who? What's going on? I can see everyone talking to her, but I can't see her. Who is the person? A chatter can block other chatters. Yes. Yeah, viewers can block mods, but mods can still see the viewers. Heather blocked you? She can block you so she doesn't see you talk. Was it an accident? Because I can look at blocks right now. Yeah, I'm very confused as to what's going on as well too. I'm gonna look and see who's I know on my block list. Well, you're not blocked, I can tell you that. No one in this chat right now is blocked. No, we know each other from another channel. Oh, okay. We got beef. We got beef in the room. Casey says 5 months. Love you, dude. Well, we love you here, Casey. Thank you. Thank you for your 5 months dedication.
You just hit on something that is critical.
Anybody
And that
wants
is,
to get in,
there are so
hashtag
many
beans.
gaps when it comes down
Get the
to
signed
mental
can,
health
LTL,
and law enforcement
magic beans
and coordination
that
between the
be
two.
rubbed as the magic.
I was listening to some other coverage earlier today and yesterday about the incredibly small number of mental health professionals in the state of Maine, and then of course you have HIPAA laws, you have the mental health system is so broken. When we as a nation decided several decades ago that it was not a crime to be mentally ill, and basically the hordes of people with severe mental illness were literally just let loose on the streets to languish and to without any care, and still there's still never been.
All right, let's do this. I think there's a misunderstanding. Let's not cause any trouble. Everybody's been good. Let's move on. No one's blocked in this chat. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We're good. We've gotten along so far. Let's not keep let's not fight. Let's not fight. Let's just move on. Everything is good. No one is blocked in this room. Everything is good. Stop. All right. Let's get back to this. This is important.
They would do something with them, and almost every single time, within 12 to 24 hours, the doctor signed off on him, and they were gone. They were released to the streets. So this is a national issue that's really never been addressed, and it should be being addressed because it's leading to incidents like this.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to play the blame game at all here, but in the wake of these mass shootings, there are so many. I've covered so many.
Stop, Heather.
And you're talking to your friends, your family, everyday people, everyday Americans, viewers, and you hear about some of the lapses.
I'll be Joe Biden.
And people get upset. People get angry because they hear about these mass shootings all the time. This just the latest one here. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention today is the 5-year anniversary of the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 11 Jewish worshipers there in their synagogue shot dead there, and the person who carried that all about just got sentenced as well and convicted. And so I'm not trying to compare mass shooting event to mass shooting event to mass shooting event, but these are kind of the touchstones we have to go off because they happen with such frequency, with such rapidity here in the United States. And so this just being the latest one. Man. What was different about this one was the manhunt. Because usually in certain situations, past mass shootings, either the suspect was killed by police almost immediately or arrested on the scene. This is what makes this one so different. Would you agree, Hal?
Come on, man. I would agree. In fact, Randy and I could compare notes, with the Southwest. So many of these mass shootings that have taken place, and we had all these we had pre-incident indicators. It was very clear mental illness, sometimes tied in with a violent ideological outlook. They've said things. Their friends, their family, co-workers have been saying things for forever, and it's in the system. And of course, this is one of the things we've been working on for so long is to create that intelligence connection where we can somehow track them. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, and Randy, you could weigh in on this. It gets tossed over to law enforcement and it becomes a call for service. And so some patrol officer or some deputy, they're going out there to do a call on someone's home or residence or whatever. They don't have all the background. They don't have all the information, and they're not trained mental health professionals. And I think that's one of the biggest problems we've had over the last several years is we have these mental health problems. We need mental health professionals to weigh in. But a lot of this
hair, I
stuff,
would
the
rub it with my
intervention piece got
hand, or whatever the
tossed on
hell
the
he
law
said.
enforcement. It overwhelms what is
Yeah, it's
already
fine.
an
We're gonna chill
overwhelming
here. I'm not going
amount of work
anywhere.
that has to
I
be
got
done.
time.
And look, patrol officers can do amazing
on
things,
my side.
but they can't do
Yes,
everything.
it
And to
is.
throw that onto a thing when they need additional help, and I'm sure Randy knows Dr. Tony Believes,
Randy.
and who with LA Sheriff's,
Randy.
LAPD with LA County, one of the top mental health professionals that works in this area. We've talked about this for a very long time, which is the need to expand this, to provide more tools and to provide more resources, so that when officers do go in, they have somebody else going in with them to provide them some assistance in these areas. Because
Yes, it is.
frankly, we need to get these people away from the firearms, away from things where they can do harm to others.
Yeah.
And of course, prevent to do harm for themselves. But when you look at this one, obviously my biggest concern was what he did to others. I'm a little less concerned about what he did to himself.
Right. And speaking of that,
You think?
before we just get into more of this, let's just reset here. I'm on the line here with Hal Kempfer, our friend, and Lieutenant Randy Sutton, our friend, experts in their fields, who have guided us through this horrible, horrible story this week. Help us make sense of it. Help us make sense of the investigation. And we are waiting for a press conference to happen any moment here. We're told at the top of the hour. But if you're just coming to us right now, the suspect in the Maine mass shooting is dead. Robert Card has been found dead. And so before we get to the press conference, looks like we got some people coming in and out of the camera shot here. So, Randy, if you could briefly, I asked Hal this already, what are you going to be expecting to hear from law enforcement in just mere moments?
He's dead.
Well, I think we're going to get what is essentially the breakdown and timeline of how he was found. Some information on the scope of the search itself. This is probably one of the, if not one of the biggest manhunt in Maine law enforcement history. So they're going to be, and I want to point this out too, that every time a situation like this occurs, there is a huge learning curve involved, and then there will be so many discussions about what went right and what went wrong in this. And so hopefully this will become a learning experience for the law enforcement community there as well. Suddenly they have to take the limited resources that they have. They only have like a little over 1 million, I think 1.5 million people in the entire state. And so they've got a very limited number of police officers. I can tell you from information that I got that the first night when this happened, there were so few resources made available to law enforcement. They had no helicopters. They had no infrared-looking radar that would have been exceedingly beneficial. They might have found, if they had FLIR, the forward-looking infrared radar on helicopters, if they had been made available, they might have found this guy that night. And so I was a little taken aback that none of these resources were made available to the police. So, but that shows another one of those. This is going to be a learning experience, and hopefully there'll be plans made and put in place for another similar. It won't be the same, of course, but it could be a similar type situation. And law enforcement needs to learn, and we learn the hard way. We learn from situations like this where, all I know is I'm just so thankful that he chose this route instead of choosing the route suicide by cop, which inevitably would have happened had he been in a confrontation with law enforcement. So, but that I think that we're going to get a little bit of information on this during this press briefing now.
Yeah, and we're going to keep talking to you guys until that press conference happens. If
you
guys have some time, we'd love to get your reaction on the back end once the press conference ends and wraps.
I have a source that just messaged me and said, suspect, Maine shooter, Robert Card. The rumor is that he was found in a dumpster with his head basically, and you can fill in the blanks. And this is in Lisbon. So we will hear the presser here, hopefully in a couple minutes, to get us the actual update.
Or Lisbon or Bowdoin there, but it's somewhere in Maine, of course. We got a live picture outside. It's a little after 10 p.m. there on a Friday night. Interesting stuff, isn't it? Hal, you first.
Well, that would make sense. You know, it could be someplace he's associated with it. By the way, if you work at a plant like that, you may know a lot of nooks and crannies where you could hide yourself, if you will. And that's a human nature thing, that when people are injured, which can include mental illness, that sometimes they will kind of, like animals,
We'll hang out. I'm not going
into a
anywhere.
space
We will
where
hang
they
out.
feel kind of closed off, but safe or whatever. And he could have done something like that. That could have been, in fact,
That's fine. We'll hang out.
What
for the
little I
presser.
know of the
We're
case
here. We're hanging
is
out.
that
We're
he
having
had some issues at work.
a good time
I'd
tonight
heard
on a
something
Friday.
that he may have been terminated. I don't know if that was true or if that was just speculation. But if that's the case, he may have chosen that. If that is where they found his body, he may have chosen that for a distinct, very, very distinct reason. By the way, I just want to touch on something
We're going here.
that Randy had touched on, and we talked about this Wednesday, and that's I've done all sorts of training, counterterrorism training, obviously in Las Vegas and Nevada, and throughout California. But I go to a lot of rural states, like Montana, and I have to tell you, there are some places where we get kind of used to that if we're in a larger city or a larger metropolitan area, that we have all these resources that we can bring to bear, that we have a phenomenal amount of mutual aid with local agencies. And you get some of these rural areas, they just
JLR
don't
is at the
have the
press
personnel.
conference.
They don't have the
JLR is
resources.
at
That's
the
why I
press
kind of brought that up. Was
I'll
when
go to
they
his
brought
feed
when,
really quick.
they talked about federal resources coming in.
2-minute warning on
That
the
seemed like a
presser.
very logical thing for
JLR
that
is there right
area.
now.
And I also,
Let's see. I'll go to JLR stream really quick. He never minds. I have getting permission before to stream his content. JLR live at the presser. Do you want me to stay here, or do you want me to go to the live coverage? If you want me to stay here on JLR's feed, type a 1. If you want me to go to the mainstream media coverage, type a 2. Let me know. You are the audience. You are the viewers. Looks like we're going to probably end up staying with JLR. Ron wants mainstream media. I don't know, Ron. I think you're going to be out. I think everybody's going to lose. Well, we'll see how the audio is. If it's bad, we'll go back to the mainstream media feed. I think it's going to be a little bit better on the mainstream. Yeah, I'm probably going to go to the presser on the, yeah. We'll hang here till it starts, and then we'll go to the mainstream media. The sound quality, yeah. I want to hear it. Well, thank you for letting us know that you have IBS. Good stuff. Yeah, this feed's gonna be bad. I'm gonna pop over to the mainstream media feed. I think I'm gonna go to here. I'm just gonna be here.
Gunned down so innocently, randomly, indiscriminately. And you can see them there, back out live there in the Lewiston City Hall at the moment. And so we were told we had the 2-minute warning.
Why
Also,
does
I would
he?
imagine
He must
this is
use a
going to be a
terrible
scene that is
service.
discussed. We just
He
had this
always his
picture up. We were
cameras are
talking to
always
Hal and Randy
bad.
about
His
it.
service is always really bad.
That apparently is outside where Robert Card used to work. It's a recycling plant there in Maine. I'm not entirely sure if it's Lewiston or Lisbon or Bowdoin. Hopefully we'll get a better sense. We're going to be writing some notes about some of the updates there from the press conference. Let's take this live yet again. Remember, hundreds of law enforcement officers from local, state, and federal agencies descended on southern Maine to look
Hang
for
on.
Robert Card.
I
This
have
very
something
time
else
last
breaking.
night,
Hang on.
SWAT teams were outside his last known address. I believe that was in Bowdoin, Maine. I don't think he was ever in that home.
Real quick,
Law
I'm going to
enforcement
cut out of
may
this
have
because this
suspected
is
that he
important.
was.
I promise I will go back to this. But breaking news. Here is some security footage of Chelsea Grimm. I have left Williams in the search for Chelsea Grimm, although I hope to locate Chelsea today. I find the evidence through the eyewitness accounts in video surveillance that may give us a reason to be cautious, optimistic that Chelsea is alive. I've included a few seconds of a 4-minute surveillance video of Chelsea at a motel in describing her intentions to go off the grid and start a new life in front of the desk of the person. This is what I talked about. What did I talk about to all of you? I told you that there was a possibility that she was hiding, let's see. She changed her mind when checking in because we can rewind that. We can rewind the live. It's fine. This is more important right now. And I wanted to be first to report this. She comes back a second time and has another discussion with a female. This does not prove she is okay, but did something not go wrong in the forest, but gives hope that she is trying to make a change in her life and doesn't realize a large-scale attempt to find her is taking place. If that is the case, then it is not deception or faking a disappearance. This is someone that is suffering and trying to find a solution. I'm not here to share the full clip or the full context of the audio. I have sent it to the family's lead PI. As far as I'm concerned, none of the time and the effort spent searching for her would ever be wasted if this happens to be the case. This surveillance is from September 28th around 11 a.m. later that evening when she was caught on body cam. Oh, okay, no problem. That's why I actually filmed this. Very good. All right, we're going to go back to the live and we will talk more about this tomorrow. But I wanted to break that since this has been an extremely important case. We have hope in the Chelsea Grimm case. I have hope. We have hope. We can recap that tomorrow. I told you. Strong possibility of her being alive. Off the grid. Called it.
Okay, so like I said, we're also getting some statements in from elected leaders from Maine, like Senator Susan Collins, the Republican. Also, Senator Angus King confirmed as well to some local outlets. The independent senator from Maine did confirm to some local outlets on the ground there in Maine that Robert Card was dead. But Susan Collins just put out this statement. I'm going to read it right now. She says, tonight, Mainers can breathe a collective sigh of relief thanks to the brave first responders who worked night and day to find this killer. When President Biden called me this evening to tell me the perpetrator of this heinous attack in Lewiston had been found, we both expressed our profound appreciation. All right, Janet Mills there stepping up to the podium. Let's listen.
Thank you very much for coming. Excuse me, coming here on short notice. I stand here tonight to simply report that the Maine State Police have located the body of Robert Card in Lisbon. He is dead. I've called President Biden to inform him about this news. I've informed Senator King, Senator Collins, Representative Pingree, and Representative Golden. Commissioner Sawchuk will describe the circumstances of that discovery in some detail.
I'm with you all. I'm
in a
just
few
working
moments.
behind the scenes here.
But this discovery is entirely thanks to the hundreds of local, county, state, and federal law enforcement members from all over, and people from other states as well. People who searched tirelessly to arrive at this moment. And on behalf of all Maine people, I want to express my profound gratitude for their unwavering bravery and determination and fortitude, and for the leadership of Lewiston Police Chief St. Where'd you go? Right there, that guy. Lewiston's Police Chief St. Pierre. Like many people, I'm breathing a sigh of relief tonight, knowing that Robert Card is no longer a threat to anyone. I know there are some people, and many people, who share that sentiment, but I also know that his death may not bring solace to many. But now is a time to heal. And with this search concluded, I know that law enforcement continues to fully investigate all the facts so we can bring what closure we can to the victims and their families. And I ask that all Maine people continue to keep those families and all of the people impacted by this tragedy in their thoughts and prayers. Lewiston is a special place. This isn't us. Lewiston is a great place. It's a close-knit community of fine people, people with a long history, a history of hard work, of persistence, of faith, of opening its big heart to people everywhere. And tonight, the city of Lewiston and the state of Maine begin to move forward on what will be a long and difficult road to healing, but we will heal.
I'm still here. I'm
together.
just working behind the scenes.
Thank you. And again, my deepest gratitude of all the people of the state of Maine, to these wonderful members of law enforcement who came from all over to help us solve this crime and put closure on this investigation. Robert Card is dead. Now I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Sawchuk.
Thank you very much, Governor. We truly do appreciate all of your support. I think it's incredibly important that the next person that speaks this evening is Lewiston's chief law enforcement champion, and that is Dave St. Pierre. Dave.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Governor, for allowing me this opportunity. Bear with me, please. I certainly did not have much time to prepare a speech here. I want to say to everybody, thank you so much. Our community can now breathe a sigh of relief, as the governor stated, and I can't echo that enough. Our work again is not done here. I was very elated tonight when I got the call from Commissioner Sawchuk advising me of the revelation of what took place, and that Mr. Card is deceased and no longer a threat to our community or any other community. I just don't want to forget the families that are grieving and will continue to grieve. I don't want to forget the law enforcement officials that have worked tirelessly throughout this whole event to come to a good conclusion. Our men and women of the Lewiston Police Department, of all of our surrounding agencies, we have with us Chief McGee here from Lisbon, where Mr. Card was found. This is vitally important to all of us that this conclusion came to light tonight.
I'm still here. I'm just working behind the scenes. I'm gonna let them talk.
Lost loved ones here. We're going to continue to work. We're going to persevere. And we become better people for it, is in terms of working together as teams. We've learned a lot from some mistakes. We've won a lot of accomplishments this evening. Again, I wasn't really prepared for this on a Friday night at 10:30, but I'm very happy to be here and very happy to say the threat is over. Thank you.
Might be here, JLR.
Sure. So our officers are being notified now as we speak. Some know, obviously, sooner than others. There are many that are still home. They're home with their families. And I'm quite certain at this point in time, we all know about this. This is something that all of our law enforcement personnel, ours and any surrounding community, has been paying very close attention to in awaiting positive news or good news. And this is by far the best news we've had in quite some time.
Was there any belief at this time that the suspect was dead before finding him, or did this come as a brand new revelation that you never saw coming before this?
So our reality here is that the search has been extensive. It's been thorough. It's been nonstop since the minute we started speaking with you and long before that. So all of these options are on the table, as we knew. We continue to search locations, in some cases multiple times. And we will have more information about exactly how this went down. We're going to have another briefing tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And I would please encourage you to think about next steps from your end, information that you would find important. And I will say that this is not going to be a long Q&A this evening. We wanted to make sure that we got this information out as fast as possible and as responsible as possible. And what I mean by that is that the time between the notification of the press release and now, there wasn't a lot of details there. There wasn't a lot of details there because we wanted to talk to the victims' families. We wanted to say, this is coming. It's important that they heard that information as close to first as anybody else. And you know who else we called was the family of the suspect. And they lost a loved one in this scenario. And there were many of that family that was very cooperative with us throughout. So they deserve that phone call. So we had those conversations tonight before joining you here. We also got a chance to spend some time with the brothers and sisters of law enforcement and our public safety partners that have been so incredibly helpful over the last few days, to say the least. So, one second. So right here, sir. So at 7:45 this evening is when Mr. Card was located. I won't give you an exact address. It was near the river along Androscoggin in Lisbon Falls was the actual location. Ma'am, did you have a question? Ma'am, did you have a question? That all remains to be seen, right? So our reality is that we found that body at 7:45 and it's 10:25 now.
Oh, shit. I know. I know. I know I'm frozen. I know. I'm well aware. I'm trying to get the feedback. This is something with, it's an issue with Chrome. Since I did the update in Chrome, this is what's been happening. And I don't like it. Let me try to get the feedback up here again. I apologize. I appreciate everybody letting me know.
More questions again with the mindset that it's 10 o'clock tonight. And we do want to come back.
I'm going to do the beans at another time. It's just, I don't want to go through all that again. It's just, it's too much right now. It's kind of getting irritated here. Sorry. try and do a stream, and the fucking thing always keeps.
Yeah, sure. So I
closing
think
down.
that that was an ongoing conversation since the minute we actually put that in place. We knew that that was an important decision.
We'll do it
Certainly
another
from our
time. I
perspective,
promise.
It made
I'm just kind of getting
complete
irritated
sense
about it right
to
now.
put that order in place immediately based on the violent nature and the traumatic nature of these crimes. And as things progressed over the next few days, since Wednesday to now, we've had a lot of conversations with various town and city leadership, with the governor's office, with Chief St. Pierre, with business owners, with residents. And we have to have that balancing act of pluses and minuses. And we had that initial surge with those communities, and those communities made perfect sense for an order. And as things tended to slow down, we didn't have any immediate threats. We made the decision to back off that. I would also just want to mention this because a fellow commissioner had asked me to do this, and I could walk out of here forgetting it. But Commissioner Camuso said that and passed along that actually that
They're not going to
hunting
give anything.
restriction has been
Not
lifted
gonna
as
give
well. So the resident hunting opportunity for tomorrow is open across the state of Maine to include those 4 communities. There's a lot of phone calls that she would receive around that. But right here, ma'am. Yes, I can confirm that. It's an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
There you
Did have a
go.
question, ma'am? I didn't state that we had searched that area before, so okay. As we have stated in the past, we try to use information that we can confirm one way or the other. So your reporting can say something one way or the other, and that's fine. We can talk about that again tomorrow morning. But I think we're done taking questions for this evening. Thank you very much for your patience, and we will see you soon. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go.
Okay. I'm going to shut this one down. I want to get over and break Chelsea Grim because I know everybody's going to be over this like flies on shit here pretty soon. So I just posted the link up above. Let's go over there. I'm going to start that one up. It's probably not going to be a super long stream, but at least we can get it out and talk a little bit about the new information that has come out. And I just got a little bit more information from her friends that I'll share here. And we can go over this and kind of hash it out. So appreciate you. If you're just jumping in right now, Robert Card has been found deceased with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That's all we know right now. I'm sure we'll get more information as it comes out. I'll report a little bit more, but no need to worry. Maine can sleep a little bit safer tonight, and they have a lot of healing to do in that community. So let's go over to the Chelsea Grim stream. We'll get that fired up. We'll get that online and talk a little bit about it here and see what y'all think. So I'll see you over there in a couple minutes. I'm going to hit my outro. See you in a bit.